right, Carl. I can see you writing, which means you're about ready to make some magic there.
I've got to mix the colors. We've got her fired. She's to this stage right now. And like I said before, I hope you enjoyed that last step because that's the easiest part. And now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
We'll be outlining her eyes, painting a iris in, and also outlining the eye, doing the shadow brow, re-intensifying the lip lines, and giving her a little cheek color.
Okay. And what is the name of that?
Black velvet,
Oh,
which
black
is
velvet.
a
Okay.
very rich
Okay.
black that is matte.
Okay.
Then the warm brown will be used for a shadow brow, just to indicate where we're going to do our brush work at.
Okay.
And then, of course, we'll be using the autumn rose on the rest of her, like we've been using. And as always, put some media off to the side where we can mix our colors down. Okay, and I'll remind you this doll has been shrunken down, so we're working in tight proximity to everything. If you get it anywhere it's not supposed to be, grab your eraser. I probably am going to do the same thing. Okay. The way Nicholas painted these eyes, one would think they would cut off here. They don't. He was very smart and created pretty much an optical illusion. We're going to outline around the eye. When Nicholas painted it, he extended that eye all the way up into the lid instead of the lid just going straight across there. Gives the eye more of a larger doe appearance. And we're going to take that same black, we're going to go around the eye. Now he has got it sculpted a good deep ledge, so if you're very careful, you can kind of hit that ledge he has got sculpted and get that eye painted in there. Now, I've went too far down just because it's hard to get that brush in here. Take off your excess. Now, I'm going to go in here. Also, he outlined the eye all the way around, including the tear duct. So we're going to go in here, use a very light stroke. Outline under the eye. Now, we'll do the upper lid. Go in there to that tear duct. Go in. Go up like that. Extend it down. Give her a little bit of a cat eye, like that. Now I'm using quite thick paint, really. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to fill that whole deep underlid with the black. We will be going back over this another coat. So just try to pull your color and keep it even as you can. Try to keep the edge as nice as we can. Because as I've said, there's no eyelashes painted. They're suggested, and we'll get to that in the next firing. But we need it all the way up to the lid. Now I did a faux pas there. Just going to take our eraser, catch it on the edge. That took care of it. Now, I'm going to try something that I've done before. We'll see if it works this time. Hopefully it will. Get a ball stylus to do the pupil. Dip it down in the paint, the fairly thick paint. We're going to go in the center of the eye. There you go. Got a pupil. It's a whole lot easier if you can get your paint and ball stylus to behave. You'll get a truer circle than you can with a brush. And like I keep saying, these eyes are so squinted since we shrank it. It's hard to get a brush in there. It's hard to see to paint these eyes. So anything you can do to make it easier, give it a try. Now we're going to do the very same thing to this eye. Oops. First we're going to outline. And I find it easier starting at the side and going and doing the top rather than going around. It just works easier for me. Remember, go upward, then come back around. That's a little messy, so I'm going to take that off. It's thicker than what I'd like it to be. Thank goodness for these erasers.
This has to be the most difficult part of this.
It really is.
But it's the thing that gives her life, doesn't
It is, and it gives her the look that Nicholas gave her. Those dreamy eyes. I honestly think if you did not paint them like this, the doll wouldn't have the pizzazz that she does, the old world charm. The main thing with this lower lid is try to get some continuity with the lower outline. I'm going to take that off. Try to keep your lines as thin as you can. It just not only gives it a more elegant look, it's just classier looking. Okay. Then I'm going to do the upper lid line. That little tail on there. Bring it up to where we China painted. Get you a brush full of black. Go in right at about where the tear duct is. Bring that color up and out over that lid. Very heavy lids. This just gives her more drama by doing her eyes this way. Now, I've went over right there at the beginning. So I'm going to take the eraser. We're going to get that off. Okay, I can live with that. Now we'll get our ball stylus. Go into the heavy color, tap it around, figure out where it goes. Go in there, kind of move it around somewhat. Whoa, see, moved it too much. It's no biggie. Take your eraser, make you a little cone. Go in there and push up on it. It'll come right off. We want a nice round pupil. Okay. Next, we're going to go into the upper eyeshadow, the iced violet. I've got my slant shader, and I've went into very lightly the autumn rose. We're going to put a little bit of that. There's still a little much in there. You don't want very much into your brush. Probably need to wipe out even more. On the inside, underneath the base of the brow, Nicholas had used this color and blended it in on top of the lavender. So we're going to put some color there. Then we'll take that same brush, wipe most of it out, and we're just going to blend this on top of the lavender. Then we'll take our mini China mop and go in there and blend it even more. It's very subtle, but it's very effective. By doing that, we're pushing the eyes back in there with the shadow, but the lavender's bringing it out more too. Then we're going to take our lash and liner brush. We're going to load it with the autumn rose. Take most of it out. We're going to go into the very crease of this eyelid, and we're going to paint a very fine line. And that's also going to give more depth to the eyeshadow in the eyes. Remember, you will be losing some of the shade value after it's fired. Now we have it this far. Now we're going to come back down. We're going to take the medium strength, not the thin and not the thick, but a medium, and reline the lips again to intensify that. First we'll do the line between the lips. Then we're going to go back around the lips again. take my eraser, go up in there, take off what's not supposed to be there. This time I'm going to take the makeup sponge, go in there and just lightly blot to start with. Then I'll take the lip brush and just kind of push around and very subtly blend that color. We don't want to kill it, and we don't want to bring it up because it is a lip line. And yes, ladies did line their lips back then. So we want to keep that established. Now, we're going to take our angle brush and a color called warm brown. We're going to load our brush with, it's fairly strong, the color, but we're going to take some of it out, put a little media in, take a little more out. We're going to take that angle brush and use it at an angle. We're going to go, here's the beginning of the eye. Her eyebrows start a little off center. So we'll put a mark there where to go by. Then we're going to start that brow by putting that stroke in at an angle. Then I'm going to turn the brush on its side. And I'm painting, but I would call it more of a dry brush effect. And her eyebrows do go down quite far. And I will pull this down. Here's one. There's the beginning of her eyebrow, or her eye. So we're going to go over in here. Go at that angle.
I don't think it's hard to figure out where her eyebrows are, do you?
No. He's got pretty much a ledge sculpted here. So that's why I say I'm painting, but I'm dry brushing more. I'm letting the color just slowly come off the edge of the brush and catch his sculpting, because he suggests where that brows should be very much in the way that the doll is sculpted. Now, once again, this is not exact where I'm doing this. This just gives me a general placement of where that brow, where I'm going to do the next step, which is the line work. Okay. Fill this in. Like I said, her brows go down quite far, really. And he doesn't have that much of an arch to them. This one's a little bit too high to please me, so I'm going to take some of the top of it off. Now, we're going to go in here with a makeup sponge, my favorite thing. We're going to blot most of that off. It's like I keep saying, this just gives me a general idea of where I'm going to continue and do my brush work. It's so light that if we do not cover it completely with line work, it's not going to show that much. Plus, we'll come back and intensify it once we do get the line work in. Like I said, he did not have much of an arch at all to this. So you want to keep it fairly straight. Okay, that's a little high right there. Let's bring that down. Okay, I can live with that. Now, I'm going to go back into her media. Going to put more cheek color.
So this is the fourth.
Fourth application of your cheek color. And you can see, even though I've put 4 coats, it's not heavy.
No,
I put it on very light and build the
glows.
color. And we'll use the Autumn Rose. We're going to go right back in there. That same pattern we've been putting it in. Not all over the cheeks, but at an angle. Keeping the color heaviest up on the very top of the cheek. That's the way Nicholas had his. And we'll go in with a mini liner. Do the perimeter like we've been doing. Then go into the apple of the cheek and distribute that out. Oh no, I've gotten black on there.
Oh,
That's always evil if that happens. Yeah, it came out. Okay. Well, now we're ready for the next firing, and this will be to an 019 once again.
all right. She's coming alive.
She's starting to look like the future Lily.
All right. We will be back. All right, Carl. So it looks like she made it out of the oven.
Yes, this is to the extent that we have her right now. You're going to see some drastic changes happening in this next firing. The first thing we're going to do is take the black velvet, and I've got it thinned down to about a medium consistency. And we're going to go right in, and these little puffs under the eyes, Nicholas painted those with black. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to fill in this hole under the lid of her eyes with black. I keep saying this is different eye painting than I think I've ever done, or I know that I've seen in my life, but it works. This kind of reminds me of the old movie star look.
Well, they used to use charcoal to achieve that.
You put the black in, then you're going to blot it.
Okay.
Yes, this does add a lot of drama and mystery to her face, and it just really makes her eyes pop. That one in, go in there and blot. Go up against here just a little more. Okay, now next we're going to take that same black and we're going to fill in the upper eyelids again, this eyeliner. So we want this really black.
So you're doing that from the inside.
Yes. Then he didn't paint lashes. He gave the illusion of lashes. So
I always thought she had lashes.
Well, she's going to a little bit because you've let me do my thing too on top of what Nicholas has done. He basically took a brush full of black paint, He kind of quick stroked it and pulled it out. Not evenly or anything. Just basically like that.
I have been wondering what this, or thinking about what this, the eyes of this doll remind me of, and with those petal shapes, and it just hit me. The dolls of Louis Lejeune, which we have a video on YouTube on Louis Lejeune, and it has very similar eye treatment, which is Louis Lejeune is a very unique maker.
Sounds like it. You and I had discussed too, if mannequins weren't an inspiration
Well,
with this
he was a
eye
mannequin
painting.
designer as
Well,
well.
there you go. And then Nicholas worked for Madame Tussauds. And of course, they used all kinds of painting techniques and things too. And I would say he was affiliated with the ballet, so they had pretty dramatic looking makeup work also.
Well, I guess we could just say he had talent.
He did. He was very smart. Okay, I'm going to take a liner brush now, go into that same black, because I wasn't really satisfied with this look, and I went in and just randomly stroked in a lash here and there on top of all of that. Just very spontaneously, just here and there. Once again, don't go for perfection. Art is to be viewed from a distance. Always remember that. I'm going to go in there real lightly and just barely tap it with a sponge. Okay, next we're going to be using a color called dark sepia.
Dark sepia.
Or sepia, however one would pronounce it. I'm from Tennessee, so we murder the English language.
I think it would be sepia.
And we're going to weaken
I think
that down.
I'm because sepia is a tone of.
We're going to go in here where the light shadow brow is. And his first few strokes were kind of straight up.
Are you still feeling that there's a definite place for the eyebrows?
Yes. And after I do it from that angle, I generally will turn the head completely around, retrace where I've been to darken it a bit. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more of a tail because he's got those brows really going down to the side, which just adds more drama and really makes her look like she's giving almost a Marilyn Monroe look. Just adds so much more drama to her eyes by the placement of these brows.
I think what my takeaway from this is the shadowing is so important. If you don't do the shadowing properly, that just makes all your beautiful brushwork pop.
It really does. You'll have a one-dimensional look if you don't go through with the shadowing. And with all the work on this doll, you want her to be right. Once again, I'm going to hold it right in front of me. Pull in some tails, upper and lower, to adjust those brows and get the look that I want. Thicken this up just a little, where our brows will balance a little more. Okay, I can live with that. So now, let me look. Gonna add just a tad more color, and I mean very lightly, because we're nearing the end. We almost have her painted. Using the same autumn rose we've been using. Just a little bit of color. We're to the stage now where a little bit is a
lot.
Is a whole lot. And let me adjust this one brow. Okay. Yes, I like that now. Okay, we're ready to put her back in the kiln one more time at a cone 019.
Oh, right. She looks great, Carl.
She's getting there. We still have one more step, and then the glaze on the eyes. So we're almost there, everybody. Just going to intensify a few things on here, and then we'll fire her and put the glaze on her eyes, and that'll be it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm taking some more of the diluted black velvet, which is matte. We're going to go up under her eyes again and paint that with a liner brush.
So this is basically the time you do little touch-ups here and there.
Yes, because this is the last firing that we can do at this temperature. When we put the glaze on, we can't do any more China firing because it will
just
ruin
melt.
that glaze.
Just melt away, or?
No, it will turn it white and clouded, and she'll look like she has cataracts.
Oh, we don't want that.
So no, we don't want that. But we're going to darken the eyes pretty dramatically with this coat. We're going to paint that in and blot it once again. come in with a liner. And I'm going to suggest lashes one more time. They don't have to be uniform. Don't go for perfect. Just suggest. Okay, I'm going to take the same black. I'm going to thin it down just a bit more. And Nicholas had gone through the brow work and just here and there, very thin, light strokes of black. Just to give it some dimension, I would say, is why he did this.
But it's very random, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I don't think you would even know that there's any black in that.
No, but it does add.
Yes.
That's why I said he was a master at mold making, sculpting, at deceiving the eye the way he painted, suggesting things that were there that really weren't, but he made your eyes believe it. Okay, we've got that done. The only thing I might do extra, and as I said, this is going to be your last firing before we glaze it. So look around if there's any colors you would like deeper, a little more cheek blush, whatever you think it needs. This is the time to do it.
So this is the fifth
firing.
firing. Okay.
I'm going to go back in there with the autumn rose that's thin once again. And I am going to paint another fine line right in the crease of this eyelid, just to make it look more recessed. Got it a little thick, so I'm going to take some of this out. Repaint that. You want to keep this line thin because all we're doing is recessing the eyelid back by painting that lid in. Done that.
Oh yeah, totally.
I believe I will give her just a little more shot, barely, of cheek color, because she will have a dark wig on, and it's unreal once you get clothes on them and the wigs, it sucks the color out. So I'm going to put just the smallest amount on here. Because she does have a very natural look, even though they did wear makeup in the day, and blush had pretty much just really started being accepted at this time. So you want her to have a glow, but you don't want her to have a made-up look.
Yes, it was acceptable to the young and the beautiful, but not to the middle-aged lady. That would be just bad to wear makeup. But I don't think anybody actually admitted to wearing makeup.
No, they wanted that natural look and natural beauty. Now that's Lily.
She's looking fabulous. Can you hold her forward so we can see
Sure.
her? All right. So she's going back into the easy bake.
Had an 019. Don't fire her any hotter. 019.
019. Okay.
Next we'll be back to glaze her eyes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Carl. So, Carl, what are you making now?
This is called a product that Becky puts out. It's called glaze sheen. What it basically is a very low fire glaze. And it's going to not only give dimension to Lily's eyes, it's going to give them a sheen, a wet look.
And so, will this be a separate fire?
Yes, a separate one. And as I said in the segment before, look at your piece good before you use this. This has to be fired no hotter than an 021 or an 022. It will not and cannot go back through a hot firing, an 018 or an 019. It will leave almost like a cataract look that you cannot
I've
correct.
actually seen that on old dolls before, too.
Yes, it's not a pretty look.
No.
So if you look at your head and I wish I would have put a little more cheek color. I wish I would have. There's 2 or 3 strokes there I should have put in there. Go ahead before you put this glaze sheen on. Do that and refire it back to an 019 because there's no turning back once we put this over the eyes. It's very easy. You just want to go in there, put a very thin, even coat just on the eyes. Now, if you get this outside of the eye, it's going to shine.
Okay.
So, and you're going to be able to see it, no doubt, because it leaves like a film. And yes, there'll be little hard knots, little white knots in there. It's fine. It will melt once it's going to the 021 or to 022. I generally fire mine to an 022, which is a very, very light firing. In truth, years ago, whenever I was doing a lot of China painting on glass, especially lampshades, that's what you fire glass paint to, and glass. It's not that hot, but it's hot enough to melt and fuse this glaze and turn it into glass.
So it looks like you're just dabbing it into place.
Pretty much. You just want to get a good coat, but like I keep saying, keep it centered on what you want shiny. If you get it anywhere else, take it off. And yes, you can use the eraser to do that. Okay, her eyes are glazed.
All right.
Now she's ready to go back into the
And
kiln.
this is her final firing for her head, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll be back and show you the finished work. Well, Carl, she's cooled down. And I think she looks pretty amazing.
Yep, we're finally
And I
finished.
can see that dewiness in her eyes.
It's just enough shine that it gives it a wet look and gives it a little more realistic appearance.
Well, I think you did a beautiful job.
Well, thank you.
And I love everything about her. But you know what? One of the things I'm just wild about, well,
What?
2 things. Her nose, and I think her ears are amazing.
Her ears are.
And you just blush them perfectly.
Just the right amount of shadow.
And I've
work
been looking
brings
at a
it
lot
out.
of ears doing this program because I have to be very close to your ear most of the time. So I'm really thrilled with her.
Well, good. I hope everybody has learned and enjoyed this and will do their best making Lily because she is really a one-of-a-kind doll. And I think Nicholas would be so happy if he knew years later, after him passing away, we would be rediscovering his work and making his dolls come back to life.
I think he would be delighted. And I'm delighted. So we will be back, and we will, we have some easy, not heavy lifting. We've got just the limbs to do.
The limbs and the upper arms.
And yeah, so that's wonderful. All right, thank you, Carl.
All right.
Bye-bye. So, Mr. Armstrong, what are we going to do today?
Well, we're going to tint and blush Lily's upper arms. Now, I've already told you the color and everything and how to apply it on Lily's bust and on her head. So we'll just oil this with the media, pull it back on a sponge, then put our flesh on it and use an overall wash. So I've already done that to these. Now, on the arms, I want to tell you that the way you can tell them apart, there is a right and a left. If you look closely at them, they're flat on the inside. Your right arm is sculpted just a little bit bigger than your left one. So always look for that flat side that goes into the body on the inside. And now, these are odd. If you really aren't familiar with this doll, which you probably aren't, it'll take you a while to figure out. They actually do go this way. This is the elbow. This is the inner underarm. And this is the crease on the fold of the elbow. Nicholas had put color here, through here, and of course on the elbow. So we're going to be using Autumn Rose. We've got our makeup sponge and some media. So just like with the cheeks and the overall wash, we're going to put media where we're going to put color to help us blend it out a little more easier. Doesn't take a great deal of media, just a very thin surface. And I have the color mixed to about a medium consistency, not as thin for a wash and not as thick as for detail. That will be the inside upper arm. This is the crease of the inner elbow. And I will be using the large lip brush. We're going to go straight into our color. This is the inner bend of the elbow. This would be our underarm. Just paint in a little line. This is our elbow. And we're going to go back to the mini mop. Go in circular motion, then back and forth. You don't want to leave a lot of color. Remember, as I've said, Autumn Rose is a non-lead base, so when you apply it, remember, it's going to be lighter than what you see. You don't want a whole lot of color anyway.
It's just a little accent.
Yes, just to make her very delicate looking. That should be enough.
And that looks like an elbow.
It does help once you define these. You can really
and then
tell.
that's the opposite side of the...
Yes, that's the inner crease of the elbow. Now we'll go to the other side.
I think too this helps really with putting it together because it's pretty the shading just gives it it makes you realize what these parts are.
Because when you first cast it, it's like, what is this? You would instantaneously think it goes this way when it actually goes this way.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't dealt with the lower arms or the gloves. The reason why, they're white, unless you want black gloves or a different color. Nicholas's original, there was absolutely no color on them. So to help you understand, there's the elbow. So this goes this way.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
There we go, like that. And then when it's bent, of course, the elbow is very evident. Now those will get fired to a 019. I do have a pair here. It's already finished. So this is how it would look.
Elegant.
And since we've already got these finished, Margaret has already lined these. And there is a pattern that you'll get with your mold for your lining. This is just a piece of scrap leather. The lower arms or the gloves are also lined. That pattern's included too. Now, you will need to take some epoxy putty, Durham's wood putty, whatever you're used to setting hooks in with. You need to sink a hook into the lower part of the arms there. You don't want it to extend up where it will hit the elbow, and we'll be stringing it off of that. One clue I do want to tell you, go ahead and set your hook before you glue your leather in. It's just much easier and it goes faster.
All right. Well, thank you, Carl. So I guess we have one more step to do, don't we?
That's it, and that would be Lily's legs.
Okay. Well, we'll be back. So where are we, Carl? We're going to do Lily's legs.
Yes. Here's the colors we'll be using. Shell pink, that's going to be the hose. We'll be using perfect rose because she has a seam up the back of her hose. And using old gold for her shoes. Okay, and you can see I've already got the colors mixed. We're going to go into a little bit of media, then our shell pink, and we're using the hair stroke shade, our large brush. We're going to fill it up really well. And we're going to block in the stockings and go around the perimeter.
And that's pretty well defined where you're going.
Yes, it's easy to see. And bring the color up. We're not putting a real heavy coat on there. Plus we will be taking the color off. So just go around the perimeter, drag your color upward. And these shoes are really sculpted beautifully. I think he must have had a pair of antique shoes in front of him when he sculpted these.
I think you're right.
Because they are truly accurate for the 1900s. Okay, get some more pigment and start bringing your color up. Now, at about halfway up the leg, I stop. We're going to go in with a makeup sponge with no media or anything on it. We're going to go in and just blot. It's best to go around the outside where we first started blocking it in and get that excess out first. Then we can just start blending it. You don't want to leave any puddles around the inside of the shoe. Once again, we'll take something. See, scissors work wonderful to hold things with, to keep from fingerprinting. I'll start up here and work downward into the other that we've laid in. It will take a good bit of your shell pink to coat the leg. And once again, if you do have some texture from your sponge, this is a highly fluxed color, and flux lowers the melting point of your pigment and also gives it a glow. So if you have any texture, don't worry about it. It will smooth out when it's fired. Try not to let it form any little puddles though, because you will get a two-tone color if that happens. So put the color on, pounce it around, pull it out evenly.
Now we're doing this Nicholas's color combination, but they could do any combination they want.
Oh, especially if you have some beautiful material, purple, green, or something, and the color wouldn't coordinate. Just pick out a different color that would go with your outfit. Of course, it's acceptable. I think he did the color he chose just as a very neutral color. And you could even leave the whole shoe white and just do the soles.
You could.
But this color is not really intended as a flesh tone, just a pinkish tone, because we will be painting seams up the back.
Yeah, it's just a mellow lavender stocking.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Looks like I wiped off a little there. Check around your shoe and make sure you have the color like you want it. And then this will be our first firing. Well, let's go over it with a China mop, just to make it a little more even. Because like I said, you will get a glow off of this color. Okay, we're ready for the very first firing. Very carefully set it in your kiln where it doesn't fly, or you can put it on a stilt. If you do use a stilt, this could be top heavy. If it's a smaller stilt that doesn't extend more than halfway, it could fall over. Take a kiln post, put over the side of your stilt, then put your leg on. The leg really will not, I wouldn't trust it to sit in the kiln like that, so I would lay it down. And we'll fire this to an 018.
Okay, well, we'll put that in the kiln and we will be back.
Okay, we're back after our 018 firing on the toning of the leg, which is really the hose. So we're going to start with the sole of the shoe. We're going to use Old Gold.
And this is in their kit.
Yes, this comes in the Lily kit. Take just a little bit of media. And it's much easier to go in here. We will be putting 2 coats. So the easiest way I've found to do these is to paint in up against your heel to start with. Start bringing your color out.
And there are defined lines here too, aren't there?
Oh yes, he didn't leave anything out when he sculpted. Get it to about that far. Then we'll come in with our makeup sponge. We're going to pounce that. Go into a little bit of media. Pick up color. Just start pouncing it in. We just want a thin, even coat. We'll build it up in the next firing. We'll take the eraser if there's any irregularities or overpaints onto the shoe. Go ahead and take care of that. It can come up over the edge just a little bit because a normal sole does anyway. And don't forget to do the bottom of the heel. Take and wipe off the edges. I'll just use the edge of my sponge to do that. Okay, next we're going to go with a long-haired liner, a brow liner. We're going to go into the media. Well, first, I forgot. We're going to use a lip brush. We'll go into the media. Because this being the early 1900s, hose not only had a seam, the foot and heel generally was a little thicker. And there was a design that would show on the shoe. And I'll show you the shape that it is. First thing, go in there right up against the very heel of the shoe, the top of it. We'll go inward and up, inward and up. And it goes to a point, more or less. Like that.
Okay.
And I know this color looks lavender. It is a beautiful pink, but it's not going to be pink until we fire it. So don't get all shook up when you mix it and hit it with some media. It's pink before the media. Okay, this is one of the hardest parts of this doll. We've got to try to do a straight seam. The easiest way I've found, if you can get the light right, you'll be able to see the seam line that you've cleaned away. If you can find that seam line and go by it, you're on the straight of the leg. We're going to go down here. We're going to start pulling it. Painting a straight line is not easy for anyone. So if you get out of kilter, you can go ahead and erase it. I prefer to try to rough it out. Do the seam as best as I can. Then if I have to, as long as I know I'm not getting off too much, go back in with your eraser after you've pulled it, and you can trim it down. I just find that easier. We will be going back over the color more than likely. Now, I've got it a little thick in a place or two. So I'm going to go in there and trim it down just a little. You could leave a larger seam if you like. I'm playing like these are expensive French well-made hose, so I want a small seam. I'm going to go back in there and pull that a little more even. Okay. We have our soles, our heel, and the starting of the seam and the foot of the hose painted in. We're going to fire this to an 018 once again.
All right. We'll fire that and we'll be back. Carl, you started without me. It's not fair. Okay. So what are we doing now?
Okay, this is the old gold, and I'm painting it in. Now you can do whatever variation you want. This is my variation. The original one, Nicholas painted the shoe detail itself, the entire shoe except the heel, and what I've chosen to paint, he left that white. So if you like, you can reverse it and paint in the old gold. This time I chose to paint the top decoration, I would call it, which it's in the mold, in the old gold. Then we simply go in there and blot it with our makeup sponge.
Okay.
Keep your color soft. Like I said, I think he chose this color because it's a good neutral color.
Okay. So you've just outlined the shoe opening and then done a couple of points.
Yes, and the little points there at the toes. Okay, and of course, we've got our first coat of old gold on the sole. We're going to take our sponge. Well, we'll take our brush first, just like we did before. Paint it up against the heel. Keep it neat. Then pull our color down somewhat. And we'll go in with our makeup sponge. You can see how much that color grabs onto that first coat. And we want it a little bit darker than that first coat. So we'll go in there and pounce more of that tone in. Bring it on out to the toe. Then we'll take that same color and tap it onto the bottom of our heel. Go around. If you have any extra that shouldn't be there, just take the sides of your sponge and tap it. It'll come off. Okay. Next, we will outline the hose. Let's see. We've got our first firing on there. So let me do this little bit here. And of course, you're going to see it looks totally different now that it's been fired. Now, I've already outlined our heel detail.
Got something ready.
Yep, the kiln just shut up, everybody. Now we're going to put the second coat onto the seam of our hose. And it's a whole lot easier this time because we've established a line.
Of course, you've said that China paint loves China paint.
It does. It will just grab it and make it so much easier to pull this line than that first time. Oops. Got just a little off there. go. Just a little. So now we have this ready to go back into the kiln
Excellent.
at 018
All
once
right.
again. And our legs are finished after that firing and ready to go on the body.
All right. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Well, doll friends, this is a wrap for Creating Lily. And I want to thank you, Carl, for all the work that you've put into this project.
Sure.
And I also want to thank Becky Decker, who's gone above and beyond to create this really complicated mold.
Yes.
So all I can tell you is, as far as our Carl Armstrong is concerned, the best is yet to come.
This is true.
Okay. Bye-bye, friends.
Bye.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.